Wendy Messenger, founder of Confetti, a community play cafe, and I'm here today with Elisa Frost, our baker extraordinaire. And today we'd like to walk you through tie-dye sugar cookies.
So to make our sugar cookies, we will be offering a kit that comes with the pre-baked sugar cookies and pre-colored and mixed royal icing bags. But if you want to make these from scratch, we will have the recipes and directions up on our website. But if you get the kit, we're gonna go ahead and we're going to start by cutting open the tip of our white icing bag. And we'll want to make a relatively small incision here. So I'll just cut off the tip. And I'm going to create a small dam around the edge of my cookie. And if you put the bottom down and then lift up and treat the icing like a string, you will have more success getting a smooth line versus if you hold it close to the cookie like a pencil. So think of your icing as string, and as you get around the cookie, and sometimes that happens and that's okay.
Right, it doesn't need to be perfect, right? The goal of it is to keep the rest of the icing from overflowing.
The idea is to keep the rest of the icing from overflowing. And so then as you get close to the end though and you want to end your line, you bring your bag back down and touch the cookie. And this will allow us to use a looser and thinner flood consistency icing in the other colors so that we're able to create a tie-dye pattern.
And mine won't be as pretty as Elisa's, but while she's showing you the next, I'm gonna do one here too. I think mine will be a little squigglier because I am not a professional baker.
Definitely think about
Cookie
lifting it up and
more.
and treat it like a string.
Some technique string.
And let the kind of icing flow out.
And you want to squeeze it from the top. This is also the problem when you're a little bit of a novice. It works better to have flow if you squeeze it from the top, right? That's what you've always taught me.
And then we're going to create a bigger incision in the colors to allow it to flow more freely, but still not super large. A little less than 1 centimeter in its opening. And on this cookie, I'm going to create a little bit of a swirl pattern. So I'm just gonna start in the middle and create a swirl. And it doesn't need to be perfect because we're going to agitate it with a toothpick later to create a tie-dye pattern. And we all know that tie-dye is always varied. Would you like to?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm going to do this with each of the colors to finish my pinwheel.
I'm gonna do mine in more of a traditional. See, that's what happens if you don't squeeze at the top. It's harder to control. This is the fun thing about tie-dye is that there's really no right or wrong or no need for perfection because there's a lot of room to play.
And we're doing things in a rainbow order, but you can do any combination of colors you'd like. If you want to just use a couple of colors, you can, or you can use a lot of different colors like we are. You are welcome.
Am I using enough? Do you think mine's gonna blend?
You can always add more, so it's okay. We'll just wanna make sure that by the end you have the cookie kind of filled and slightly puffed up above that white dam. And my swirl isn't perfect, but we'll see it'll come together and create a really pretty tie-dye pattern still. And we will want to work a little bit quickly filling the cookies because you don't want the icing to dry first before you're able to agitate it with the toothpick, because that's what will allow it to then still flow smoothly after you mix it. So you'll want to do one cookie at a time, though you do have some flexibility, as even when it doesn't look like it's going to go all the way smooth initially, it will even out.
So the frosting dries pretty quickly?
It does. It doesn't dry all the way, but it will start to crust a little bit, and it'll just make it so you have a little less of a smooth finish, but it's also not the end of the world. It's a cookie. We want to eat it at the end.
Way too pretty.
All right, and I'm gonna hand you a toothpick for when you're ready. But then I am just going to take this and I am going to, I'm going to give you a damp paper towel as well so that we can wipe our toothpick after each stroke. Here you are.
Oh, after each stroke. Huh?
So that we're to control how the icing is. So I am going to pull from the center and pull out. And I'm going to do it kind of in a star pattern around the edge.
I'm doing more of a swirl pattern on mine.
And then you can also then pull it in, and is what starts creating that really tie-dyed effect when you're doing it both directions.
Oh, it does start to dry pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can see why you really can only do one cookie at a time.
Yeah, it'll come back together and smooth out even once it starts doing that. And with the pattern in mind, I'm going to also swirl mine out from the center, and you can just kind of play with how you want your tie-dye to appear by doing different patterns with both the icing and your toothpick. And when it's not smoothing all the way, if you shake it a little bit, it helps it come together, and it will actually settle when it doesn't look like it's going to before it dries all the way. Because if you were watching, mine looked a little crusty for a minute, and so did Wendy's, but it has smoothed out. And so that's one of them. And then we can do all sorts of different designs. So we did more of a swirl pattern this time. We could also do stripes. And the fun thing is that this is just super flexible, so you can literally do anything you could possibly imagine. I'm gonna try stripes this time.
I'm gonna do polka dots with just, I think, 2 colors.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Okay, so again, you squeeze from the top to do this.
Yep.
It makes such a difference.
It does. It makes it come out a lot smoother. That we have heat sealed the top of our bags to prevent any messes, even if you maybe have a child who's trying to hold the bag.
And if you were doing it with your own icing that you made at home from the recipe on our website, you would use kind of the pastry icing bag.
You can either use a pastry icing bag, you could use a Ziploc bag if you couldn't get your hands on a pastry bag easily, and then cut the corner. And if you use a pastry bag, I recommend either tying a knot at the top, or you can also use a rubber band to help close it. And you'll notice my lines aren't super straight, and we're not going to even be able to tell by the time that the cookie is done. So now I'm going to take my toothpick again, and I'm just going to do straight lines down and then a straight line up, and I'm wiping it off between each time to control my colors better, but you don't have to. You can mix them more. It's all about your personal preference.
Right. As I always tell my kids, there's no right or wrong in art. Kind of goal is to have fun with the process.
Exactly. And if you wanted to do a little different of a design, you could also fill it with one color, and we'll do some polka dots in it. And
I attempted to do polka dots, but
you did beautiful.
Not quite the precision. I do like how it does start to fill out some.
It does. That's the magic of using a flood consistency. And then for this, because I want to fill the whole cookie with one color, I am going to make a little bit bigger of an incision because it'll make it easier to flood the whole cookie. And so I'm gonna just do a swirl out so I'm filling my whole cookie. actually think I'm gonna do 2 colors. I'm gonna do alternating polka dots of red and blue, but I'm gonna do them as a circle around the outside of the cookie. And we're gonna make a cool effect where it creates hearts by dragging our toothpick through it.
Oh, that sounds neat.
And so even once you fill the cookie, you can add more color on top of already filled icing, and it'll appear on top of it. As you're seeing, it melts right into the existing color. And I'm just gonna take my toothpick and I'm gonna start in one of the polka dots, and I'm just gonna trace the circle around.
Oh.
And it creates a pretty heart-like effect.
And let's show a few other examples of styles that you did.
Yes, so I have a dried version of the stripe. You see it gets a semi-gloss finish by the time it dries all the way. I did more of a true swirl in a traditional tie-dye. I did just a real big mixture of different polka dots, and I drug the toothpick all over. And then I made a version with just 2 colors because there are no rules in cookie decorating.
So our cookie kits are available to order online at confettiplaycafe.com. We're located at 4545 42nd Street, Suite 109 on the corner of River Road. So we hope that you can join us for other arts and crafts activities. We have assorted craft kits, family activities, and then our cafe serves delicious goodies.